This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 293, Why Earn More versus Save More is the Wrong Debate, by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. And I'm Dan, your host and narrator here on the show, and this is, of course, where I read to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. And today we're offering a post once again from our newest author to join the show, Paula Pant of Afford Anything. She's also a fellow podcaster, and her podcast is also called Afford Anything, and you can find that in your favorite podcast app. But for now, let's hear a post from Paula as we optimize your life. Why Earn More versus Save More is the Wrong Debate, by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. It's time to wave the truce flag over one of personal finance's greatest battles. One of the most spirited debates in personal finance circles is the classic Earn More versus Save More standoff. The Earn More crowd argues that raising your income is the best way to reach financial independence. There's no upper limit to this potential, especially if you're an entrepreneur. The Save More crowd argues that, left unchecked, income and spending naturally scale together. Focusing on frugality, therefore, is a better method for creating financial independence. But here's what neither side admits. Both hold unstated assumptions. The Earn More crowd believes that they'll spend a fixed amount regardless of their income. The Save More crowd believes that they'll spend a percentage of their income. The debate boils down to this difference in worldview. The classic argument, if you earn more, you'll spend more, is based on behavior and mindset. It argues that people spend a proportion of their income, 90%, 80%, 50%, whatever, regardless of how much they earn. The counter-argument, the more you earn, the easier it is to save, focuses on math and logic. It argues that you need a baseline foundation to cover your cost of living plus reasonable comforts. The surplus goes directly to savings. Therefore, higher surpluses equal more savings. Both sides, though, focus on growing the gap between income and spending, and that's where this conversation needs to turn. The gap should be our one and only focus. Here's how I define this gap. You earn X dollars. You spend Y dollars. The gap is the difference, X minus Y. Your job is simple. Make this gap as large as possible. You can push X higher, you can drive Y lower, you can attack both simultaneously. The size of the gap matters more than the method you choose. Once you've grown the gap, invest this into anything that creates cash flow. Cash flow are the critical words. Your home is not an investment. It's cash flow negative. Rental properties, index funds, and owning a business, however, enhance your account balances rather than deplete it. These are great uses for the gap. Let's look at the power of the gap. You earn $100,000 annually after taxes. You spend $60,000 and create a gap of $40,000 per year, which you invest in index funds that grow at 7%, compounding annually. After 19 years, you've grown $1.5 million. If you quit working and withdraw 4% of this, you'll have $60,000 per year before taxes for the rest of your life. That's financial independence in less than 2 decades, or faster if you fling races into investments. Can we pause for a moment? We just outlined zero to retirement in 19 years. 19 years! And this happened while living on a comfortable $60,000 of annual spending, which isn't a fringe extreme. In fact, let's take a step back. Let's imagine a different situation. You want to retire to a balmy beach in Thailand on $40,000 a year. How much money will you need? Let's figure this out in our heads within a few seconds using easy back-of-the-napkin rules of thumb. If you prefer index funds, the 4% rule. You can sustainably live on 4% of your investments every year. In other words, $1 million in your portfolio means you can live on $40,000 adjusted for inflation every year. The 25 times rule. Calculate the amount you want to live on, multiply by 25. This is the size your portfolio needs to be. Notice the relationship to the 4% rule. $40,000 times 25 equals $1 million. If you prefer rental properties, use the 1% rule. Your rental properties should collect 1% of their value in monthly rent. In other words, $1 million worth of rentals should collect $10,000 per month in top-line revenue. If you're saying, there's nothing in my area, then go where the money is. The 50% rule. Half of the rent will get gobbled up by operating costs, such as repairs, maintenance, management, etc. The implication? If you hold free and clear properties that meet the 1% rule, you can expect to pocket 6% of the home's value every year after expenses. How soon can you retire to a tropical Thai island based on these general parameters? Well, if you invest in index funds, you'll need $1 million. If you invest in rental properties, you'll need $660,000 in properties free and clear. Your target, therefore, is to build $660,000 to $1 million worth of investments. Reach this singular goal, and you'll receive $40,000 in passive income for the rest of your life. If that income feels too low, double everything. You'll need $1.3 to $2 million to create $80,000 in passive income per year. Now, some of you might be thinking, really, that's it? While others might think these numbers sound daunting. To those in the latter group, everything worthwhile feels daunting at the start, and even the most complex situations feel easy in hindsight. You've mastered driving a car, memorizing all 50 states, filing taxes, and all types of other cognitively complex behaviors. You can manage this too. You've already taken the first step. You've built the map. You know the goal. Now the focus is growing the gap. Financial independence boils down to one simple focus, the gap. Grow it, invest it, repeat. There's not much more to say. We can draw diagrams and build models under a hailstorm of variables, juicing ourselves with pure nerd fun along the way. But this spreadsheet tinkering isn't necessary. The only road to financial independence comes from focusing on the gap. Do this one thing, and everything else falls into place. You just listened to the post titled, Why Earn More versus Save More is the Wrong Debate by Paula Pant of AffordAnything.com. And this actually pairs really well with the last post that I read from Paula, which talks about that gap between what you earn and what you spend. If you haven't heard that one and you like this post, definitely check it out. That was episode 283, not too long ago. And by the way, Paula has her own podcast where you can hear more from her. It's called Afford Anything, just like her site. Before we go today, I'll just mention really quickly for all things related to our podcasts, to support the shows, join our mailing list, contact us, and more, simply visit us online at oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com. And I'll leave it at that for today. Tomorrow I'm going to read the first half of a post from Mr. Money Mustache. So I'll see you there in the Thursday show, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.